Yeah.
And it just leads me to think of this. Like, what do you think when you're like getting a new member? Like, do you usually go? And I know it could go both ways, but do you go for skill or do you go for personality? Like, if you're getting a new band member or a new staff member,
That's kind of hard, bro.
It's really
Because
hard.
there's people who have the skill,
Right.
but then their attitude
Terrible
is
personalities.
but then they're like the sweetest dude or whatever. Like, dude, this guy's super chill, but he's not there, bro.
Bro, I have.
So-
You tell me your experiences. I have one experience. I'll just tell you real quick, so
Yeah.
you kind of get in the mood. Sweetest person ever. I'm not even gonna say if it's guy or girl. Sweetest person. They did Pro Percenter. Middle of a service, they played a video. The video was like 3 minutes long. We're doing it. It's like a minute in. They just stop it. And like the full sanctuary, the full auditorium went black. And I'm like, I was directing, right? And I was like, what happened? They're like, oh, I don't know. I needed to touch a button, like straight up. And I was like, sweetest person, but you cannot ever do that. You know what I mean?
What?
It's intense. It's a funny story. And how do you deal with that? You tell me your experience.
Dude, I don't. It's because
No, not necessarily an example, but like
Mhm.
your mentality about it.
I don't. It's because like coming from I think it's different when it's music, bro. Because in la música siento que es poquito diferente.
Oh,
I
you
don't know,
have
it's
to have the
just-
skill.
Like you have to have the skill
You're
and
right.
sometimes even deal with those attitudes.
Yeah.
And it a veces it kind of sucks because
Dude, I want to know because yes, you're right.
yeah.
I've always been more on the video production aspect.
Mhm.
So yes, you can always teach somebody to just press play and do not stop it
Yeah.
after the 3 minutes finish.
Yeah.
But you're right. In music, you have to hit the notes
Yeah.
and you have to know the instrument. How have you dealt with like a difficult member? Because I mean, we've all been there.
I think giving them chances, like as
Yeah.
many chances as you can, because then at the end of the day, when you tell them, "Hey, you know what? Thank you, bro."
Have you?
Yeah,
Have you gone to the point that it's like, hey, you're talented, but that's it. That's it.
not talented, but that's it. But like, hey, I thank you for being consistent, but your skills just not there. Like,
Oh, so it's been backwards.
Yeah,
for you?
backwards.
So if it's more, so okay, yeah. So if there's more skill than personality, that what am I trying to say? What the killer for you is if there's no skill. If there's no skill,
I think yeah.
so you would always deal with personality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, luckily, porque no, I haven't had someone who has like the
Terrible.
worst. Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I've had just like people that are just just like you're just like okay.
In the past, like way in
Yeah.
the past, not right now. Not right now.
Yeah, not right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Nah, these are chill,
This is
bro.
cool.
But yeah, I've had people that you're just like they're just weird, like
Okay. Yeah.
like they just
Rub
no
you
sé,
up,
como que
bro.
they're just,
Yeah.
just not the same vibe with.
For sure,
like-
different
like-
attitude or
yeah.
too quiet. Or
Yeah.
they don't hang out with the crew or something.
Yeah, so but they have the skills, so just darles por su lado
Right.
at some
That's good. What about you though? Like, if you can go into like a reflection, how were you as a member? Like, were you difficult to work with, or how
I think I was, bro.
You
I think,
were?
I think
You
a
got
lot of
better?
people- yeah.
you?
I try to get better, bro.
Right.
There's
There's still things.
Like I used to be like my temper, bro. Like I
Yeah.
get mad so quick.
Oh, bro, that's me. I'm
Like,
glad you say that.
But no, not just like more with music though. Like
Okay.
like I take
Like, if
it
it's
personal,
not,
bro.
is that to your level? You get like,
Yeah, like if I sent you the song a week ago, like it gets to me, like bro,
man, like you had
like
time.
yeah, like it gets to me. Like I get more mad at church and probably like if
The regular
they're
life.
outside or something. Yeah,
Man, that's crazy. But
yeah,
it's-
like I take it.
yeah, because you
personal.
take it serious. You have that excellence and
Yeah.
you know that level. And you're right. Like, if you're preparing and they didn't,
Mhm.
yeah, you get to that point. And did leaders ever like sit you back down or anything for your like temper or anything, or you've been able to like just maneuver?
Not that I remember.
Right. So
Well-
you had a temper, but you were always
Yeah,
You were able.
pero sí me regañaban mucho, especially
Okay.
my parents, because my mom sings and my
Uh-huh.
dad used to play drums at our
Oh,
old
okay.
church.
Were they
So-
leaders?
So
Like
they
part-
weren't
or they were
just
just-
leaders,
Mhm.
but they were like part of the band. So whenever I would say something and when we would go drive home, it was like, hey,
Te pasaste.
te pasaste,
Right.
te voy a dar tres nalgadas cuando llegues a la
Heck
casa."
yeah.
So I fall asleep in the car.
That was last week.
Yeah.
That was last week.
Last week. Yeah, dude.
Dude, no, that's crazy.
So-
No, but you're right. You're right. I mean, my parents, they raised us in the church, but when we were serving, they were not leaders anymore.
Yeah.
But we had these conversations, well, I mean, my sister, my brother, and I, where we would always like get out of line and stuff, and we're like, dude, like, the heck,
Yeah.
you know, like that's whack, or like vice versa. We're all kind of the same age, so we're kind of checking each other, you know. And my parents too, they were leaders at church when we were growing up, so they always knew we tell them the stories, and they're like, oh, well, you were wrong.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
Yeah.
You're never wrong. They should have known. They should have known. No, dude, that's wild. So how was that transition? Did you grow up in church or?
Yeah, I grew up in church, 100%. Yeah.
Since you were like born.
Yeah, since I was born. Yeah, I think when I was born, I don't remember correctly, but I think my parents had just started going to church. So,
all right.
So my brothers and sisters, my brother and sisters grew up in church too.
Are they younger?
So yeah, I'm the oldest.
Nice.
I'm 22 and I'm the oldest.
22?
22, dude.
Just take a
Yeah,
sip.
dude.
You're not even older.
Yeah.
I feel bad, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like 10 years older. I know.
Nah, it's not good, bro. It's not good.
He's went down here, ready. Dude, so how was that growing up in church? And when did you find out, like, did I want to do this like for life, or did it just started falling into place?
Both. I found out when I used to play soccer back then.
Yeah.
And I used to play like for clubs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And my parents didn't have the money to put me in a club, like an actual
Like
club.
a real big
So
one, yeah.
coaches would like sponsor me, like, hey, we'll pay for him, just let him play. And sometimes my tournaments would be on Sundays.
Yeah.
So like
church.
Church and stuff like that. So when I was like 11 or 12, that's when I started kind of like drumming, según yo, and stuff like with my dad and stuff like that. So
he was already a drummer.
Yeah, he was already a drummer.
Yeah.
So then when that happened, I would play drums on Sunday and soccer on Saturday. So I like doing both. Like if you tell me like, what do you want to choose? Like, I don't know.
Both.
And yeah. So then when I was in high school, I almost broke my hand. Okay. And like, man, I would have broke my hand. There's no more drumming. So my grandpa told me he was a musician. Yeah. He passed away, but he was a musician. But like he told me like, hey, an 80-year-old can still play music and make money, but you never see an 80-year-old soccer player. Or so I was like, that's true. Yeah. So then I kind of started getting into music, and then later, like, I just fell in love with it, bro.
And you just kept doing it at church and everything.
I still play soccer, but not no more, as you can see.
Hey, it's good. I've never played soccer, as you can tell. Yeah. I've never played. I did play. My brother and I played in elementary school. Yeah. He was good. He was the athlete.
Oh, okay.
I was just bigger, you know? Cool, so as defense, he played in like every position. Oh, and I was just defense, and people were like, "Oh, el grandote, cuidado." Like I was just like big, you know, and I would like, and I had my little bad tricks, a couple red flags and whatever. But that's cool, dude. And going back into that, when you decided music, did you plan on like you want to work at a church? Because for me, it was a different experience.
No, dude. I think when I started like music, I wanted to tour. Like, of course, like, oh, I want to tour. I want to tour. Did
you play in bands like in high school and college?
Yeah.
You had a couple bands.
Yeah, but everything was just church stuff, not really like
outside that.
Yeah.
Like the one I posted the other day. You saw that?
Oh yeah, dude, on your Instagram, right?
Oh, dude, that was like
you were playing bass, huh?
Yeah, dude, that was my instrument was the piano always, but I did pick up the bass, super basic. I do not consider myself a bass player, but that was a huge failure. I'm pointing out those two people in the band because, dude, I like to write, so I had a bunch of original music. I've written original music for a long time, and I never wanted to jump on it, right? And then they finally got together, like, oh yeah, for sure. I was like, guys, I want to do a band. They were down. We had that recording that night. That was the only practice. We learned like 3 songs. They were great musicians. We learned like 3 songs, and it was dope. I was excited. And then our next group chat, they're like, how come? They're like, what if we just do covers? Oh, dude, this guy, he knows who he is. One of those two. He's like, what if we just do covers? And I'm like, damn. So everything sucks. Anyhow, like, so I moved on to video. Hey, I like my songs. All good. Yeah. So okay, so you were playing music, and then how did you get involved in working?
Back then, musicians didn't used to get paid.
Right.
In church, it was like if you I don't want to get into that, bro.
Dude, let's get into it. Without names, because it is a big thing. I just talked, and I feel like I'm cutting you off a lot, but you're touching. I think we had the same upbringing of church to church jobs.
Exactly.
And I have a lot of people in the current state, in the current era of church, then they're like, oh, well, if they don't pay me, I'm not going to do it. Or like, you guys who work there, you guys want us to do everything, and you get paid. I'm like, well, you guys are volunteers,
Yeah.
and our job is to supervise. And yeah, we do a lot of work, but it's like the church world. It revolves around volunteer work. So get into it. Yeah,
bro. But God has like made a way, dude. Because I started working right after high school. I started working with my dad, and then construction, and I wanted to do music for a living. I wanted to tour and get paid for doing that. And then after that, I started like buying my speakers and like según yo recording. Yeah. And then after that, it went like it didn't really go well. So I had to go back to work. And then I started working at another place all the way in Poway, and that was waking up at like 4 in the morning, and
you had church
down here, and then church here. So I was like, it was crazy, dude.
Right.
But todo se fue dando just like hey, like we want you consistent here. Can you be here? And I'm like, yeah, but I have my home church. It's like, oh no, we'll take care of you. Like okay, like así sí, because the way I've told a lot of people is, like, you're always supposed to have a home church where you serve,
of course.
And I tell them, look at it like this: like if your dad asks you to go cut the grass in your house, you're not gonna charge him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
right. El vecino te dice, hey, ¿me puedes cortar el zacate? Or
you could charge.
Yeah, like but I mean, you know, it's not my house. You know? So that's kind of how I approach things, but. I never go to a church and be like, I'll play, but you have to give me like something. Yeah, like I'll go and play and si me dan bien, si no, like it doesn't matter, bro. Like at the end of the day, we have our job. Like it's.
I mean, like we said, we grew up in church since I literally went to a Christian elementary school for that church, so I learned to play the piano there. And not only the church invests a lot in the people, you know, like that go there. So they learn the skills, and then it usually we become valuable assets because we had so much experience, you know, like, and this person asked me the same question, like, what is the difference between working at a church or serving and stuff like that? And I have this story a couple of years ago when I was working in production. One of the volunteers was like, "Oh, well, you're just doing all this because you get paid," and it hit home, you know, like in that kind of like area of like they kind of sometimes, and not everyone. Usually, people love staff and everything, right? But those conversations do happen, and I had like a quick revelation in the moment, and I told them, you know what? No, I don't do all this because I get paid. I get paid because I've always had a heart to do this, you know. And there was a different mentality of that, and that revelation that I got, I took it to heart to always share it to people, you know, who get paid at church and people who don't. It's like we're not doing it because we get paid, because if we stop getting paid, don't listen. My bosses don't listen. No, but if we were to stop, you know, like we would get a job, struggle for a minute, you know, like find work, and then keep serving.
Igual, and the same with the same heart and everything.
Same heart, and like you said, you do have a home church where you serve, you know, and I do have my job, and I do have other people from different churches and people who are part of a church who are doing different projects and different businesses, you know, starting from the ground, and we help them, you know. Like, I think the heart of service is what kind of qualifies you to get a job, you know, because I'm full-time church, but you know, like, it's not because like I only do it for the money. Like, I've always had the heart, you know, for ministry.
Yeah.